Hi, everybody. I'm Aikutzi, and I'm a woman leader in the board of Decriminalized Nature. I'm from the Wixárika tribe. I'm here to share my voice today about some important things about decriminalized nature and normalizing psychedelics. As a female voice, I would like to say, an Indigenous leader, I would like to say that I do not speak for my tribe. However, I do have some very important things that I have to say as a person that has been helped by psychedelics and has a birthright from being indigenous to these sacraments. I feel that one of the things that we have not been communicating or hasn't been shared is how indigenous people, we have ceremonies and how there is religion and there's freedom of religion in the United States and in the world, and we all have this freedom of religion. But when we talk inside psychedelics, we think about drugs, we think about parties, we think about various things that do not fit in the context of normalizing them, because if we really think about it, psychedelics are plants and they're normal because they're not just sacraments to many indigenous tribes, but they're also medicine, can serve people as medicines, and there's no reason for medicine to not be free and not be accessible to the people. There's no reason for these sacred plants as sacraments that can change and touch so many lives in different ways can be, people can have access. Now, I feel like one of the most contradictory things that I'm facing right now is, in this path of a decriminalized nature, is when people say, well, it's a drug. Well, what do you mean it's a drug? And why are we mixing psychedelics with drugs, or plants, like psychedelic plants, like medicinal plants with drugs? Like, I would like to give a little bit of examples of what in my personal life, being Wixárika from the Huichol tribe of Mexico and practicing my tradition, how it supported me. I have to say that for me, sacred plant medicine like peyote has saved my life, because I think that, like many people, we grow up with so many life trauma of different aspects, and for me, one of my life traumas was just like being multicultural and fitting into like so many dimensions of different ethnicities, because I grew up in Mexico, I grew up here in the United States, I was Huichol, and I also have like American ancestry. So just kind of like fitting in with all this ancestry and finding a purpose of what I was going to do with this in the future, and how it was going to enable me to help future generations by sharing my story, or making a difference for my future generations by sharing with you what it is that peyote is for me. So I'm going to say that for some time, I did not consider that plants were, that peyote, I hadn't done it. I didn't know when I was going to do it. I did commune with it when I was very young, but I just, was part of a ceremony. It was very normal for me. In the future, as I was trying to fit into a normal society, I never thought that I was going to get led into what is the medicine path. So when I was led into the medicine path, well, I think everything but Indigenous is what I wanted to be. I wanted to be that fun, crazy girl, just having fun with everybody. But at one time, like they say in my tribe, the fire pulled you. So I was slapped in the face with the necessity of having to do a traditional ceremony. So what does this entail? Well, this entails what people in normal life also have to do, as when they do their bar mitzvahs, as they do their first communions, as they complete something in their traditional life. So the only difference is that instead of like communing with a different type of sacrament that represents Jesus Christ, well, our ceremony has plants. So I think that something with normalizing what we do as in tradition, and like it's not just a one-time thing, or maybe it is for people and it could help people and we could share it, but it is a path, and it's a path that not everybody understands, but it could help many. It could help all of us, because these are plants that should be accessible for everybody. And I feel that if we focus on decriminalizing these plants and supporting decriminalization, we can enable people to have access in safe settings. And by safe settings, I mean, well, if you're interested in doing ceremony and there's the people out there that want to share ceremony with you, that's good. If not, there's a big thing going on with the pharmaceutical setting. And if you want to be in your bed and that's kind of your thing, well, and you feel safe, let's do that. But at this point, what I'm seeing right now is everybody wants to do the pharmaceutical setting, and you're saying, no, psychedelics are not good, and no, we have to own these and make money with these, and that is not good. So I think that we have to really recognize that normalizing psychedelics and normalizing sacred plants could support everybody, because these plants are medicinal that could heal spiritual and physical pain. They could heal past traumas. They could help you get over something you can't help. And I'm going to share with you what it is that, besides doing my traditional ceremony to follow my ancestors' steps, what psychedelics have helped me with. It is, well, one of my good friends and family members was murdered, and she was part of a femicide in Mexico, and I was so broken. I felt I could not go home. I felt I could never go home, ever, ever. I didn't ever want to go home. I never wanted to go to Mexico. I could not get out of bed, and I don't want to relive that pain. I don't. But I want to share this with you because we all go through loss and different things. And my experience was with ugly loss. Like, I don't want to share the way that I lost my friend. And sometimes we lose people that are dear, but I gotta say that if it weren't for me being able to commune with another tradition in ayahuasca, which is not my native indigenous Wixárika tradition, I might have not pulled through. And I think I could have gone to a lot of therapy, but sometimes it could be a combination, and we gotta find things that we can do that help us pull through. And I think that includes with family members that help you and friends, and finding this safe way to doing these plant medicines. But if we do not support psychedelics getting normalized, people are not going to find these safe spaces. And especially right now here in San Francisco, I think we have a big opioid crisis. There's a lot of fentanyl in the United States. There's a lot of fentanyl in Mexico. We need to be able to create spaces where people can recover from drug addiction. And we gotta be really alert and come together as a community and normalize psychedelics and normalize plant medicine, normalize freedom of religion and tradition, and be respectful to other cultures and traditions. And I just want to thank everybody that has shared their story and that has come and supported to decriminalize nature and to legalize plants and free the plants and free the people and free the healing. Thank you so much. Resonates and having respect for other cultures and traditions. And I think that something that we need to share better as Indigenous people is the right way to approach Indigenous people and to share our voices too, because sometimes I feel that what I've seen is that we're demanding, and sometimes that doesn't come through in the right way, because it's like we're so frustrated as Indigenous people and taken advantage of that we need our voice heard, and we need support. And I think that there has to be some way that we can find a middle ground to make sure we're doing it in the right way. here we have a different way of doing things than in Indigenous communities and traditions, and a lot of us Indigenous people like to be like asked for permission, but sometimes we're not guided as outsiders in the right way of doing so, and it's really hard to figure out. So no, I don't think that Indigenous people's voices are supported enough. I think we could do a lot more. I don't think there's enough rights for Indigenous people, and I think that we have to like find the right way of doing that, and that's not necessarily just pouring money into something. We need to find a way of like being part of the solution, I feel, and seeing it through. Like, and also, knowing that what you're supporting is legitimate, because right now I feel like there's a lot of city people that represent Indigenous voices, but it doesn't make it to the Indigenous communities, So you gotta see through that what you're creating is going all the way, I think. That might be complicated. Being out of or what is my homeland and coming here and visiting other Indigenous people at other places, you find like we're all so common. Like we all have these things that are together and so common, and our ancestry will say that we're Indigenous. Now, I think the thing right now is that we're forgetting that we're Indigenous, and that's why we need these sacramental plants, because they kind of remind us, like they remind us maybe why we've been sent to serve in this planet, or remind us of what our purpose is, or maybe not remind us, but like I feel like open your heart to receiving more like instructions from Mother Earth, from Mother Nature, of who we are as beings and what we're doing here. And that's why, like, when we try to say who is in charge of plants and what is happening with Mother Nature and Mother Earth, then, like, Mother Nature and Mother Earth in response is saying to some people like me, hey, you know what? There's a job here that you need to do that's not in the ceremonial center. You were there, but I need you to do this job because I need you to share a voice for this, for the kids of your tribe to be able to have the sacramental plant. We need to grow this plant. For me to be able to grow and serve other people or find my tribe, I need to grow. I need to propagate. I need help. So then I'm like, okay, well, here I am sharing the voice of the spirit, the plant. My tradition and my tribe is peyote. So peyote has done a lot for me, and I've been in a lot of ceremony, and it's different. But when I had the depression of my friend passing away and the memory of that, I don't think there's nothing that could help it. Like, every plant can help in their certain way. And it doesn't mean that you just have to be loyal to that plant, but maybe you do, because I am loyal to peyote. But once in a while I visit another plant, and it's helped me, and I'm grateful for that. And I think if we don't create access or opportunity for these plants to propagate and grow, and to honor them in respectful reverence from the earth, well, they're not going to exist, and they're not going to help people, and we're just going to be little zombies in the world. I think that in religion, many times, people follow books, and that's cool, but you don't know the sentiment that the person writing the Bible had, and how his enlightenment is different from yours, and how there might be a miscommunication of words. But with the sacraments, I feel that you get to live God and communicate with God as a spirit. And I think that you have to be able to know what the truth and not truth is, because sometimes we can be misled into trying to become gods, but we're not. We're like servants of the gods. Yeah. But I think that what you say as a religious, as like in my tradition and everything. No, I think that in my tradition, we all know that you're gonna get your message. So it's part of the preparation that you're gonna get your message and you're gonna grow from that message. And it's hard. It is hard. Traditional ceremony, traditional ancestral ways are very hard, and you have to have a lot of commitment to them. So they're not like kind of like, something you go visit and you lose your commitment and that was it. So sometimes you can be a visitor, but once you're like really indoctrinated into them, it's like, you got to be really committed. Okay, so what I mean, just in a broader context, okay, sometimes, like for instance, we get the curiosity, okay, we want to try ayahuasca, we want to try peyote, we want to do this and this, and we're doing it from where we want. And so sometimes we got to learn how to ask the right way or to people, not just like, just go and try it, because this is what's causing a lot of like psychedelic tourism and grief. And, there's not always like, the right people that teach you how to do these and be the visitors. Like, for instance, I'm going to say, well, while I was doing my spiritual path, I saw some people and, they were walking over our altars, okay? So you want to be, guided. You have to make sure that when you're like doing these medicines in a ceremonial setting and with Indigenous people, that you're respecting the rules and the settings, and that you're very cautious of the ways you walk, the ways you operate, and you want a good guide. And when you're visiting, they will guide you into show you how to be visitors, because not all visitors are participants. You got to be really committed to be participant in everything in ceremony. So this is what I'm saying. It's not bad to want to visit. Hey, I do want to visit. I want to know these plants, but let's just try to do them in a conscious and right way. And that's what I'm saying by being a visitor. And then when you're ready to commit to 5 years of, doing, like, say, not having sex, being monogamous, not eating salt, walking the mountain, not having a job, being a firekeeper. And when you're serious about it, but really, really serious, that you're not just gonna fail, then you can talk to somebody. But this is only, I'm just talking about my tribe, So I can't speak for another tribe, but I can give you like kind of like an idea of how serious our religion is in Wixárika to do ceremony, and how I feel that the right context of doing these sacred medicines is in ceremony. And that doesn't have to be in a Indigenous ceremony. It could be in your ceremony. You could carry out your ceremony and listen to the plant and say, okay, for what is my ceremony? What is my meditation? I don't have to become and dress like the Indigenous people and say I'm a chosen shaman. No, you could have your ceremony, and this is the beauty of the plants, that they're going to teach you how to do that. They're going to teach everybody. But we could also have friends. Like, we could be friends, and I could say, hey, do you want to come and visit? And we can sit together, and that's like the beautiful way of doing it. But if you want to talk about like how we should respect the Indigenous ways and voices. Well, every Indigenous tribe has their different ways and voices of the way they do the sacred medicines. But we got to remember too that medicines grow from nature. So like, we're all Indigenous, medicines should be accessible to everybody. And we're not just going to capitalize on them and take them away from the Indigenous people, or take them away from ordinary people, or not let them grow in the earth. I mean, we have to be conscious and be able to be considerate of that they're plants. Free the plants, free the plants, free the healing, free the people. The significance of fire is life, and as much as you can like think it's not life, it is life, because everything mechanical and everything is related to the live fire. Like, if fire wants to take everything away from you, it will eat it and it will take everything away from you. But then if it wants to give life, like everything, like your cameras, everything is operated because of fire. So it is everything. I've served in various communities, and there's like always the humanity, and this is like the cause of all that conflict that or humanity gets in our way. Like, we want to own everything, we want to be powerful, everybody thinks they're right. So I think that a lot of times in our sacred path, or humanity gets in our way. The one most sad thing to me is this misunderstanding between all communities about peyote. And I just want to remind everybody, if you don't know, that peyote is threatened by the mining companies in the regions of Mexico where it's most grown. And this is one of the biggest drives I have to share with you. My voice for permitting peyote to get decriminalized and grow in the United States is because with the mining company comes a lot of poison. So that means that it could possibly poison the land, the people, or it could end my ancestral tradition and tribe. And as much as we try, and there's so many defenders for Indigenous rights and Indigenous peoples and Indigenous plants, I don't think it's enough. I think we all really have to, if you come together and realize that we have to free peyote to grow, and just realize how mining companies are just humongous, they destroy everything, like water. If you really research what the damage that mining companies do, they swipe out people, people die of cancer and poisoning, and they destroy the environment, and the color of everything changes. It's not green where mining companies are. So, and the water's poisoning. So I think that if you're a person that has anything to do with psychedelics or peyote, you have to really realize that we have to step up to the plate and let these plants grow. And also the fact that psychedelic tourism is having in all these different places where a lot of the head shamans, maracamas in my tribe, they call them shamans, are, getting hated by their own people or get killed off of envy. Or there is a big need for the plant medicine here in our home in the United States, and we have to grow it and be able to find it where it's not just by big pharma, but it's accessible to the people, as in ceremony, or if you want to grow it in your garden, you're not going to get put in jail. So I think that we have major steps, and I think we've really accomplished a lot in these past years, but we really have to unite and not just want to be providers of the medicines, or we really have to step up in unity and realize that it's, we all have the right to the medicine. I feel it's very grassroots. It gives access. I think, it came naturally for the founders of Decriminalized Nature, and that's why I'm so honored and love being a part of it, because it's grow, gather, and gift. Yeah, I just think that covers all of it, and it's organic, and we all fit into it. Everybody fits into it. You don't have to be encapsulated into oh, you're a shaman, oh, you're a space holder, oh, you're a therapist, oh, no, just, we all come together because psychedelics have changed our life or touched us in a certain way that we want to free them and create access for everybody.